Welcome to our channel. We hope you enjoy the story. On the night of August 15, 1952, the worst flood in British history swept through Lynmouth, a small coastal town. 90 million tons of water swept through Lynmouth, killing 35 people and leaving more than 400 homeless. The cause of the disaster is said to have been a huge amount of rain in the water basin surrounding Lynmouth. However, newly demystified documents show this terrible disaster and that during this time, artificial rainfall experiments were being conducted in the southwestern part of the country. Did the British government cause the deadly Lynmouth flood? On August 15, 22.9 inches of rain fell on the 4-mile wasteland surrounding Lynmouth. The heavy rainfall burst the banks of the Lynn River around 9 p.m. and began to flood into Lynmouth. Worst of all, rainfall levels were rising by 6 inches every 15 minutes. In addition to the water, 40,000 tons of rocks were swept away from the moors, destroying homes and cars. Villages, shops, chapels, and harbor walls were completely swept into the sea by sheer water force, leaving some survivors unable to identify the completely defunct bodies, prompting local residents to create temporary mortuaries for the dead. Britain's Defense Department acknowledged that it conducted cloud seeding or artificial rainfall tests, but flatly denied rumors that any of these tests took place after 1995, 3 years after the disaster. However, in 2001, the BBC found a document proving that British government ministers approved artificial rainfall experiments around 1949. Unconfidential documents from 1953 show that troops were experimenting with weather control methods to increase heavy snow or rainfall to bury their enemies. In addition, British military authorities have suggested that the area of radioactive contamination can be increased by sowing seeds in clouds after an atomic bomb shock. As part of the BBC investigation, journalists asked Lieutenant Colonel Len Oatley, who confirmed his involvement in the project or Operation Cumulus, and the project was referred to as Operation Witch Doctor. Oatley participated in a successful artificial rainfall experiment in North England in 1949. The group canteen John Hart claims that during an experiment, dry ice was poured onto the clouds, and it rained 30 minutes later. The Ministry of National Defense denied that there was a cloud seeding experiment in August 1952. However, the newly confidential documents prove that Project Cumulus is in progress between August 4 and August 15 of that year. In mid-August 1952, Alan Yates, then a lecturer at the Cranfield College of Aeronautics, was asked to participate in a cloud seed experiment. Using a glider, Yates sprinkled salt on the clouds to make rain. The experiment was so successful that the BBC even made a movie about artificial rain. According to Yates, the day before the movie aired, artificial rain fell over Lynmouth and sent the village to the sea, which was not screened. Dr. Giles Harrison, a meteorologist at Reading University, also noted that if iodized silver were used in Lynmouth's cloud seeding experiment, traces would be found in the soil. And silver residues were found in the Lynn River basin. Despite these findings, the British and US Department of Defense flatly denied sowing clouds during 1952. Others believe that even if the government had sown the clouds, it could not have caused the tremendous destruction of Lynmouth. According to skeptics, cloud seeding involves individual clouds less than a mile in diameter. These tiny clouds can produce showers that last only 20 minutes. It cannot come close to the amount of water needed to create a torrent of water that destroyed Lynmouth. Also, cloud seeding does not actually increase rainfall, it just speeds up. In other words, the clouds would have rained anyway. Other meteorologists claim that the storm that caused the flooding was not limited to Lynmouth, but expanded nationwide. Records show that it rained on the 13th of the 14 days before the flood. Meteorological skeptics say this proves that flooding is really caused by God's hand, not by human behavior. It was not until 1960 that an investigation into weather manipulative environmental results began. In 1977, the United Nations signed a treaty nicknamed ENMOD. The Military and Other Adversarial Use of Environmental Modification Techniques Treaty effectively prohibits the use of environmental changes during the war. However, governments in many other countries still experiment with weather manipulation. In 2008, China and Russia carried out controversial weather observation operations in 1952. An unprecedented flash flood killed 35 people. It may never be known for sure whether they lost their lives in reckless attempts to control nature. Thanks for watching.